Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Welcome to the show, guys. This is the How Did They Grow podcast, and today we have on Dan John. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Jan.
Jan?
You got it. Yep.
Dan Jan. Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Also, tell us where the name is from. Is that German?
It is. Yeah.
Amazing.
So mother's side goes way back in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. Dad's side goes way back in Germany. There's areas of Germany where Jan is like Smith. I actually lived in a town in Germany called Maximilian. So I lived on Jan Street, down the street from the Jan Library, across from the Jan Gymnasium. So that's where that's from. A little bit about me. I was born in Sri Lanka to Peace Corps parents. So that's kind of my introduction to life is you help, you work, you serve. We're not here to just grow ourselves. We're here to grow the world, to grow people. I've lived in a lot of countries. I've been to a lot of places. I think I'm at 68 countries so far traveling. I've lived in another 20 some countries, and my whole life I've just been very interested in what makes a leader. We got interesting examples like Genghis Khan, right? A lot of people just go, oh yeah, great warrior, conquered the country. Yeah, no, that's the very least of what he did. This guy at one point ruled the known world. Did he do it just because he was a great warrior? No, he did it because he invented central banking. He invented diplomacy. There was a time when you could walk from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Bay of China with a gold bar in your hand and no one would touch you. You can't do that today, right? So there's people like that. There's people like Steve Jobs. This is a guy who started an incredible company and got fired from his own company. Was it because he wasn't a visionary? No, he was a visionary. He was a technologist. He was a dreamer, but he was an ass. He was a terrible leader, and he got booted. But he came back after he learned how to lead. Amazing. And turned out into the first $1 trillion company. That's what fascinates me, right? There's managers, and then there's leaders, and then there are iconic leaders. And so I kind of made it my mission to figure out what makes an iconic leader, and can I turn that into a system? And I did. It's called the Iconic Leadership Matrix. I can teach it to anybody.
Amazing. Let me kind of ask you this. Obviously, you said you grew up in Sri Lanka. You've been to different countries. Did you always see yourself as sort of an entrepreneur in terms of you're not going to be the regular 9-to-5 Joe Schmo, but you're going to pick a path for yourself? Is that always something you had as a kid?
Yeah, my very first job was for myself. I was a gymnastics and cheerleading coach. I set myself up as that and went to all the gyms in the area and built that business. Second business was a personal training business called Somebody. Tagline was everybody wants to be somebody. Ran that, sold that business. I've only worked for one other person in my life on a full-time basis, and that was the President of the United States, working in the White House under George Bush Sr. Other than that, I've always been my own boss, run my own businesses, started my own companies. I've been a fractional CTO and CIO and CSO, but again, fractional. I'm my own boss. I don't work for anybody else. I work for me. That's it. And I've been that way since I was 2 years old.
Amazing. I love to hear that. Let's kind of get into that because a lot of coaches really dig into that. Oh, I'm self-employed. I work for myself. But in my mind, I know there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and being self-employed. Can you kind of point that out?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, as a coach, I am a self-employed coach. As an entrepreneur, I started businesses, and those businesses provided services, and those services needed teams to run those services. I still own some of those businesses. I own a high-end luxury real estate property management company. I own the highest end photo and video studio in the Rocky Mountains, but I don't run those. I started those. I built them, and I hired people to run them for me. That's the difference, right? As a coach, yeah, absolutely. I'm self-employed. But as an entrepreneur, you build a business, and businesses need teams. That's the difference.
Amazing. Exactly. And that's exactly what I was going for, because some of these coaches, especially when starting out, they feel really, I want to do everything for myself. I'm the best at this. I'm the best at this. But really, that's not how to be an entrepreneur. Then you're just going to be working 90, 100 hours a week for yourself. You might as well just go back to the 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's crazy. People tell me that kind of thing. And, the very first thing I tell them is, okay, you need to learn how to lead yourself. Like,
Exactly.
literally be your own leader. And one of the things you do as a leader is fire yourself, right? Learn how to fire yourself from the tasks that you're not good at, hire people that are good at those, and then go explore your area of expertise. That's what you need to do.
Amazing. Amazing. So let me kind of ask you kind of like a personal thing. Why leadership coaching? Obviously, you always saw yourself as an entrepreneur, but why leadership coaching itself? Why not business coaching? Or why not, why not something else?
Because there are programs to teach you business. You can go get an MBA, right? You can go get an associate degree in business. You can read books on business. There's a lot of business people in the world. Everything from, guys that run a food truck, they're running a business, right? Guys that run a Fortune 500 company, they're running a business. There are mentors, there are books, there are courses, there are classes. What there isn't is a really clear path to learning how to become an iconic leader, number one. And number two, iconic leaders are becoming very rare. I think all you have to do is just look at the current political system in Ukraine, Russia, the United States, virtually anywhere, and go, wow, where are the leaders? This is a bunch of idiots. And so I looked at that and said, okay, there's a problem here. And I look at the past and I see that we've had iconic leaders, so we can do it. But we don't have them right now. We have very few leaders. And then on top of that, we have built a very strange global society of followers who find followers who need followers to find followers to get more followers. And you follow that little circle around, and who's at the middle? Some relatively attractive Chinese girl in Beijing wearing fishnets doing a TikTok dance. She's got 85 million followers. That is a problem for humanity. I'm not saying entertainment is bad. I love entertainment. Give me a movie any day of the week. I'll watch a TikTok dance. Sure, why not? But that shouldn't be the ultimate leader of humanity. And right now it is. Right now, the people with the most number of followers are saying the least number of important things. That's a problem. And we are seeing the results of that problem manifest every day around the world.
Definitely. I definitely see what you mean. Someone who's a younger person myself, and like I can see that stuff firsthand because I'm always in the little circles hearing what people have to say. It's always the most irrelevant stuff,
It's totally irrelevant. It's fun, but it's not relevant.
It's fun. Exactly. And it's like everyone's gotten so, obviously this is a bit off topic, but everyone's gotten so, it's so easy to be great these days, you know what I mean? In terms of, because the competition isn't there.
Yeah. I mean, that's another huge issue we're facing in the world today is like the barrier for entry to become famous is at the floor. I mean, it's literally the lowest it's ever been in human history. The only possible thing that I can compare this to is the fall of Rome, right? We ended up in Rome with a corrupt senator, corrupt emperor, and we have the adage, Nero fiddled while Rome burned. That's what we have right now. People fiddling, playing music, doing TikTok dances. That's all the same thing. The barrier to entry to actually become a leader is literally at the floor. That's got to change, man. And if I can make even the slightest impact on that, then I had a reason to be here.
Amazing.
At this time.
Amazing. That's kind of a nice segue to transition into social media. And obviously you've been around for a while in terms of in the industry. How late or how early into that journey did you leverage social media to kind of grow your business, your coaching business?
So I officially launched my coaching business 1 year ago, almost exactly 1 year ago. And I leveraged social media from the very beginning in the sense that, I don't post a bunch of stuff, but I post consistently and I post things that I think are valuable in and of themselves and they stand alone. their thoughts, their ideas, their concepts, their directions. And I throw in some authenticity, like, look, sometimes I'm just sitting around outside on my deck. I'm looking at the sun and an elk walked by, a giant majestic elk, and he's 5 feet away from me. And it makes me think about something. And so I put it out there. I think one of the biggest things with social media is authenticity. That's it, man. Like, stop pretending to be what you are not and be the best version of what you already are, and then share that. And if it's interesting and it's engaging, people will engage. It's just not that hard. It kind of cracks me up when people go, oh man, I hired a social media consultant. Like, really? Did he tell you how to be you? Like, how hard is this to figure out? Don't you look at yourself in the mirror every morning? That's you, man. Like, there you are. Put that on camera. Hi, I'm Dan. This is what I think. This is what I feel. Here's an idea I want to share. I'm not going to polish it. I'm not going to learn the dance. I'm not going to sing the song. I'm going to be me. And that's how I started. And, I went from 0 followers with a brand new account. I think I've got, 40,000 people following me now on Instagram. And, that's all I did, man. All I did was just be myself, just be authentic. I don't think it's that hard, but it takes dedication. It takes consistency, and it takes vulnerability. I can't even tell you the number of times I picked up TikTok and looked at myself and went, God, my forehead is too shiny. And then I just said, you know what? Like, none of that matters. Yeah. Okay. My forehead is shiny. So what?
I get that a lot.
You got to let it go, man. You just got to say, like, yeah, this is me. This is what I look like. This is how I sound like. I'm not going to be like, hey, everybody, my name's Dan. I'm Dan. This is how I sound.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
Put it out there.
Amazing. I think that's kind of different in the way we approach it as well. It's kind of, we tend to take the same approach, because our thing is, like, we're not telling you who to be. We find out who you are. We kind of hone in on who you are, and we just help you project that in terms of getting that volume in and consistency. Do you know what I mean? In terms of our clients. Because one thing a lot of people struggle with, some people, it's like this. Some people are good on camera. They know how to speak. They just don't know what to speak about, because coaches, at the end of the day, they just want to coach. They don't want to be on social media figuring out the fancy stuff. And then there's people who don't know how to speak, but they have so much to share in a way. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's where, we kind of help people out, because, like, there is that nuance in terms of coaches just want to coach. I'm sure you've dealt with people in your leadership thing as well, because, like, coaches just want to coach. They don't want to figure out the next fancy TikTok trend and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's always some value in that. There's certainly some value in figuring out what is the latest trend and who's paying attention to what, and pay attention to it. But I don't think you can do it at the expense of authenticity and vulnerability. You can package yourself really, really well. But here's the problem. Anybody can package themselves really, really well. We have filters and tools, and, I can pop onto AI and say, hey, man, give me a full head of hair. Right. But that's not going to be me. Right. So what I always encourage people, and I work with some CEOs and stuff like this, they're so hesitant to get on social media. Right. They're very nervous about, exposing themselves. And, all I can really tell them is, what's the last movie that made you cry? Do you think that actor was worried about looking vulnerable when they were crying? Or do you think they were trying to figure out how to make their audience cry with them? Right? That's what you got to do. You got to reach out to the world and say what you got. What's in your heart? Right? If you're too afraid to share it, okay, then pretend the world isn't there. Talk to yourself. But whatever it is, man, if you got something in your heart to share, share it. It's that simple. You can always dress it up. You can always do more. You can always try to grab this trend and lock into that. But you have to start with just opening your heart. That's it.
Amazing, amazing. And what you kind of did with yourself was impressive, because you said you opened the account, I think, last year, and you were able to grow it to 40,000.
Yes.
I'm curious to see if there was any strategy behind it, or was it just Don Jan?
My strategy was this. I spent a little bit of time every day looking for other people who are posting things about leadership. I looked a little bit about what people were sort of saying and thinking about people who present themselves as leaders. But you know what? I also, my friends always laugh, right? Because they tell me I'm the proudest, humble person they know. And that's because I say things like this, like, there's Tony Robbins. He's amazing. He's the greatest coach in the world. But you know what? There's 8 billion people on the planet. There's only one Tony Robbins. There's a hell of a lot of room for another one. Maybe that's going to be me. Let's try. And that's my approach to social media. That's my approach to everything, is get out there, right? So my strategy was, what are other people doing in this space? What is it that I want to share? And is what I want to share at least as interesting as what they're saying? Yeah? Okay, share it. I did a little bit of things like outreach, like I messaged people like, hey, I saw you just got promoted and you blogged about it. You Instagrammed about it. You did a TikTok. How do you feel now that you're promoted? What are your fears? What are your pain points? What are you excited about? And then I took that in and then I spoke about it, and that's basically what my strategy was. My strategy was engage with people, hear them, listen to them, and respond to them by responding to the world, right? So if I talk to a guy named Joe and Joe tells me this, then I take that information and I say back to my camera, instead of saying, hey, Joe, I say, hey, world, I talked to this guy the other day and he told me this. Here's my thoughts on it, right? And so I know that right away, Joe is watching that, right? Because I just told him I was going to do it. And then Joe's going to tell his friends and their friends and their friends. And, but again, it's all about being authentic. It's all about, don't reach out for no reason. Reach out with good questions. Reach out with real ideas for people and ask them what they need. It's so amazing to me how many people just project, but projecting just means you're shining a light away from yourself. And what I'm saying to people is shine a light on a person. Talk to that person and find out, what do they need? What do they want? What are their hopes and dreams and desires? Because if there's one person that has that hope and that dream and that desire, so do another million people, right? Humans are more similar than we are dissimilar. We share more hopes and dreams and feelings. We just have to talk about it. That's what I want to say to people. When I talked about social media strategy, that's my social media strategy right there. That's it. Talk to people, really listen, and respond authentically, and share that with the world. Because if even one person is scared of something, there's so many other people scared of the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my strategy, man, is talk to people. Talk to people every day. And I do. I spend a lot of time on social media just watching, and I'll look for things like, I'll do a search for a new job and I'll see what people are saying about their new job. Or I'll do a search for things like, hashtag afraid. What are people posting about that they're afraid of today? Well, you do that today and a lot of people are afraid about the economy. They're afraid of war. They're afraid of the price of eggs. Right? So, right, okay, there you go. Like, talk about that, man. Like, why are the price of eggs going up? It's because we got terrible leaders who don't know how to understand our own economy. right? So share those fears, talk to those people. That's my strategy.
Amazing. I think that's amazing. Basically, just be you. Just talk about what's relevant to you and the people around you. Engage in more conversations. Find out what is going on, and try to give your expert insight about that. Am I right? Is that
Yeah.
kind of like
You know,
what you said?
it's really, it's start conversations and then shut up and listen, right? Ask a question and then shut up and really listen to what that person says. I tell you, there's nothing more powerful than silence. If you ask someone a question and you give them the opportunity to answer it and you don't respond, you just go, tell me more. They're going to tell you a lot of stuff. If you give people the chance to tell you how they think and feel, they will. And then that gives you a wealth of information to think about and apply your own expertise to. So, you know, like, look, if you're a fitness coach, you know, start looking around, start looking at, you know, hashtag fat, hashtag sad, hashtag afraid, hashtag look terrible today, right? And then ask those people, like, hey, man, I saw you posted that you feel terrible today. Why? What's up? Talk to me. You know, and then respond and say, you know, but again, respond to the world. Say, you know, hey, I talked to this girl today who just can't seem to lose weight, you know, and she's tried diets and she's tried this. But when I talked to her, what we figured out is that she's just really lonely. Okay, now we got something to talk about. If you're lonely and the way you fight that loneliness is open the refrigerator door, the problem isn't that you're fat. The problem isn't that you're eating. The problem is that you're lonely. Now we have something to talk about. And that's really, I think that's what I guess my bottom answer to this whole thing is. Everyone can have a strategy and everyone can do plotting and planning and all of this, but you got to get to the root. You got to get to the root of everything, because everything that we see in social media and in life is prepackaged, constructed, AI filtered, generated. It's glossy and exciting. But underneath all that, man, peel those layers away. There's real people going through real things. Find out what those are and then apply your expertise. And I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're a fitness coach or relationship coach. I don't care if you're a career coach. I don't care if you're an IT consultant. You know what? Most IT is really pretty simple. I've been involved with it for a long time. What's complicated is geeks talking about it in a way that makes it scary. That's the problem. The IT is pretty straightforward. So get to the root, man. Get to the root and talk about that. And you'll succeed. People will hear you.
Amazing. Kind of tell us how, like, obviously being able to build a personal brand was amazing. How did that translate into business for you?
How did what specifically translate into business?
That following, were you able to sort of convert that following to customers and clients?
Yeah, I mean, you know, so what I do is really, really simple. You know, I post stuff out there and then I ask for a little engagement. You know, I'll post something about the economy, or I'll post something about, you know, servant leadership, or I'll post a TikTok about emotional intelligence. And then I'll ask people a question. Hey, did this resonate with you? Do you feel like you're not emotionally intelligent? Have you been accused of not being emotionally intelligent? Do you feel like emotional intelligence is something that you need to work on, and why? You know, and then I'll look at those answers and then I'll respond to them in a way that says, you know what? I might be able to help you with that. Let's talk. Let's get on the phone. Let's have a chat. And I'm a really big believer that you give away as much as possible, because the more you give away, the more validity and legitimacy you create. So I'll get on the phone with someone who commented on one of my Instagram posts or TikTok posts. I get on the phone with them for 30 minutes. You know, we'll get on a Zoom and I'll listen and I'll ask some pretty hard questions. Like, all right, let's get into it. Let's talk this through. And at the end of that 30 minutes, if I do my job, they're going to be feeling better about their path, their direction, where they can go, where they should go. And then I can talk to them about, hey, do you want to do some coaching on this? Do you want to do a private coaching? Do you want to do some group coaching? And there's pros and cons to both of those, and we can talk about them. But, you can turn an Instagram follower into a client pretty easily if you follow this very simple path, which is reach out and don't reach out randomly. Like, watch their posts for a couple days. What are they getting at? Check out their reel, check out their story. Where are their pain points that are related to what you can help with? And then reach out as a friend and say, hey, I saw your posts. I got some ideas for you. Are you up for a call? And then have the call. At the end of the call, if you're authentic and you're real and you're giving value, they're going to hire you. 100%.
Amazing. So what would you say is like the biggest thing in terms of, because a lot of people try to do that on social media, actually practically. So like for us, the way we do it with our clients is we obviously put out a lot of content for them. So that kind of positions them as an authority, because our thing is really strategic. So then they get a lot of comments, because like with lead magnets and everything, they're able to take those lead magnets, people who come in those into the DMs and sort of carry on from what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of people find that they don't, they're not able to implement that. How would you say, like, if you haven't built yourself up, you can't just go DM people and say, hey, you know what I mean?
You know what? I think three things. One, I think that's a lack of confidence in themselves, right? Because look, man, if you actually believe in yourself and you believe that you have the knowledge, the skills, the experience, and the expertise to share with someone, and it's going to genuinely help them, then you shouldn't have any issue at all in reaching out to that person. But it has to be authentic. It has to be you. And here's my thing to virtually every coach and consultant out there. And I've worked with a lot of people. I have another thing I do called Coach Igniter, where someone really wants to be a coach. They can come here to Evergreen. I'll put them up, and I've got a beautiful house in the mountains. I will work with you for 2 days straight, and I will break you down, and you will come out at the other end a coach. And part of that is get over yourself. I don't care how much knowledge you have. You got to be able to share it in a way that feels authentically helpful. So, when people say, oh, I'm reaching out on Instagram and I'm not getting any response, I'm like, yeah, well, okay, let's look at your thing. And then I read what they're doing. I read what they're reaching out with, and they're reaching out like, that guy from Office Space. Hi, I'm calling to talk to you about your cable service today. Yeah, you're not going to get any response from that dude, right? But you reach out and you say, hey, I just watched your reel. I just watched your story. I just saw you posted about this thing. Can I ask you about it? Right? Flip your scripts. You got to flip the script. So many people that I see trying to do social media marketing, they're reaching out as a salesperson, right? Nobody wants that. They want you to reach out as a friend, as a confidant, as an ear, as a shoulder to cry on, whatever it is. And you can only do that if you're asking them about them. Stop telling people about you and ask people about them. What's everyone's favorite subject? Themselves. What's everyone's favorite word? Their own name, right? That's the approach. The approach is authentic, vulnerable. Hey, man, I see what you're going through. I've been there. I'd love to offer you some insight. Are you up for a call? They're gonna, most of the time, say yes. And then soft sell, man. Give value. Give value. That is literally the most important thing I can tell anybody that wants to get into coaching or consulting is give away some value. Don't hoard your knowledge. Don't firewall your experience and expertise. Give some away, and then people will want to buy more.
Definitely. I think this has been great. Let me kind of ask you, what is kind of your goal for 2025 in terms of you and your coaching business? Where do you see yourself?
Well, I've got a bunch of projects right now. I'm on July 1st, I'm launching a whole worldwide community called Mindful Business Guild. And it's an online community with resources and videos and discussion groups and chat groups and meditation sessions and all kinds of different things. And that's a big goal for me for 2025 is to launch Mindful Business Guild and make it a truly worldwide community of people that genuinely care about everybody's success, not just their own. So that's a big goal for me in 2025. In terms of me as a coach, I love coaching, but I want to have a wider reach now. So I'm really pushing myself to do a lot more speaking engagements. Coaching is wonderful. I mean, I'll tell you a really quick story. I had a woman, disabled, female, single mother, vet, just at the bottom, man, just at the bottom of her life. And I worked with her. Here we are 8 months later. She's got her own business. She's got her own house. She does marketing for veteran-owned organizations. She's happy. She's thriving. She's excited. I love that. I love taking that person and turning them into that. But I have a lot of things that I want to say to the world. And so for me, for 2025, it's getting myself on more stages, talking to bigger audiences, getting my message out to a bigger, wider, more disparate group of people. Because when people hear that I'm a leadership coach, they immediately start pegging me into, business, Fortune 1000, Fortune 2000. And I really kind of want to start getting out there and saying, no, man, leadership is everywhere. It's every part of human existence needs leaders. And so that's my big goal for 2025 is stay where I am as a coach, maybe grow a little, but grow massively as a speaker.
Amazing. And before we kind of end it off, can you just kind of break down your strategy? How in your mind are you planning to get to that stage, get to that level where you're going to be speaking on stages and getting thousands of people inside your community, new community?
I'm doing a bunch of different things. So for the community, Mindful Business Guild, I've got a team that I've hired and put together. They are constantly engaging with people on my behalf on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. They're talking to people. They're joining groups. They're disseminating my messages, my ideas. They're taking my TikTok videos, posting them on cross platforms, putting them into different groups, and getting those people to come to some free webinars that I'm doing. No charge. Just join me for an hour. Let me talk to you. Let me give you some ideas. Let me give you some pointers. So I'm doing that. I'm also doing a lot of direct reach out on LinkedIn to people that I see are in business and working to grow a business. And then in terms of the speaking, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I have a team. Again, I put together a team of people to help me do this. They are constantly on Google and Perplexity and ChatGPT, looking up conferences, looking up events, looking up anything where someone like me who wants to speak on leadership in the human experience could fit. And then they're putting together the basic proposals. They feed those to me. I edit them. We apply. I'm also doing a lot of free stuff. I'm speaking at the Rotary Club next week. I'm speaking at Costco 2 weeks from now on how to build a healthier relationship in the workplace and how that comes from leadership down through the ranks. So, look, it's a lot of work. I won't pretend it's not a lot of work. This is what I do isn't going to happen to the guy that's sitting in his basement going, I wish I was a coach. No, man, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry. But you do what I do, you get out there every day. You hire people to help you do the things that you're either A, not good at, or B, you can't do enough of, right? And that's where I'm at. I got a lot of stuff that I'm reaching out there with. I can't do it all. I'm capable of doing it all, but not at the volume I want. We all know this phrase, right? You got to spend money to make money, right? Well, my version of that is, yeah, that's true. But you also need to spend energy to get energy. You need to spend time to get time. You need to spend your life to get the life you want. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm building teams to help me do what I can already do, but do it at a bigger, louder, more volume.
Amazing, amazing. Let me kind of end on this. Where can people go to find out and learn more about what you do?
Sure. Yeah. So there's my website, danjahn.com, danyan.com. You can find me on virtually every social media network as The Dan Yan, TheDanjahn. That's the easiest way to find me out there. You can hit Amazon, of course. I've got books up. Just search my name, you'll find my books. But between website, danyan.com, and socials, The Dan Yan, I'm pretty visible.
So thedanyan.com, and on socials it's Dan Yan. All right.
No. So social is The Dan Yan. Website is danyan.com.
Okay, I kind of got it mixed up. Amazing, amazing. This has been really amazing, Dan. Hopefully we can have you on some other time, maybe after those speaking gigs and everything, and break it down some more.
Let's do it.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?